It's my birthday, and to celebrate, I've made some improvements for the first public release of LearnToReadCode.com. Now, without the password protection, completely public. It runs off of itch, but the Learn to Read code will get you there. Now, the way that this works is it's a super accessible way to learn the basics of reading programming code in a way that is both highly accessible, so ideally, fairly easy, even for younger players, people who've maybe struggled with programming before, but also immediately practical, very real, completely grounded. You can literally go from following this game and succeeding at solving its puzzles to following some online tutorials that are already out there on YouTube, totally unrelated to this. Just, it's very, very generic foundations for how to understand what's going on with programming. This video mainly exists to serve two purposes. First of all, I'm going to provide a high-level kind of tour of just the different features and elements around it so you're aware of what's there and how to use it. But secondarily, it's going to be instructional, the same way that I've used this program to teach new programmers the basics of understanding what they're looking at, reasoning through how and why it jumps around and the logic works. We'll look at how to do that so that whether or not you are learning on your own, or if you want to help facilitate maybe a younger learner or somebody else in your life getting into the basics of programming, we'll talk about how to do that. But again, so you can try it out for yourself, literally free today. It's in browser, works on web browser, tablet, iPad, phone, etc. LearnToReadCode.com. So without further ado, let's check it out. So the first thing you're presented with is a style preference, jewelry store, secret mansion. They're really just visual differences. You'll get a different intro sequence for one or the other. I prefer jewelry store. Secret mansion, by the way, also has the word spelled out on the dials. So if a player perhaps is colorblind or otherwise has accessibility challenges, then that can help them navigate the dials in that case. But we get our animated intro sequence. And again, there's a different one for the secret mansion there in our jewelry store. We're presented with a menu where we can select the initial difficulty or the format. Now, the initial difficulty, right? So we can skip it 10 levels at a time. And as we proceed, it introduces new and different features that are related to basic code. If statements, else's, function calls, parameters, variable comparisons, and things of that nature. And then the format decides whether or not it shows up as words, so explaining itself through common English, symbols using emojis in a way that's symbolic. It's sort of a bridge between English and code syntax, where, for example, these arrows explain that I'm going to set C to blue, or full-on code syntax, programming, where we get our pluses, minuses, our equals, and so on. And this is a situation also where if a user might be young enough that they are not comfortable reading, or perhaps English is just not their first language, and so they have less comfort in the words mode, you might put them in symbol mode. But the other thing I'm going to encourage is auto, and auto is going to automatically shift between those at a regular interval every few to help you get practice at seeing the patterns in each. So let's go to the top. It's going to be easier to kind of see it in example of a demonstration. So there's three different ways to manipulate the dials. And the basic gist is we're cracking safes with three different colored dials, manipulating those. And what it's showing here, right, is we can tap it. We can click on a color to change it to yellow, change it to red, change it to blue. We can click and drag it and let go of it. Then it'll snap to the nearest. Or we can use these buttons down here. Set A to its right color, set it to its left color, corresponding to the left color, the right color. You see along the bottoms here. And of course, this way to avoid clockwise or counterclockwise or the ambiguity of left or right on the top or the bottom. It's going to match the wording you'll see in the instructions. So the first two are going to be pretty easy. A to yellow, B to red, C to yellow, open. We got some socks. Every single prize in there is an emoji. Different modes will get you different prizes. A to blue, B to red, C to yellow. So far, so good. And again, of course, this is a fully tap interface if you want to do it on a smartphone, on an iPad. Okay, now it's shifted to symbol. Since we're in auto, it's automatically going to rotate for the next few. So C to blue, A to yellow, and also notice, right, the order has changed. No longer ABC, so not too hard yet, but still trips some people up when you start to shift things around. I also want to point out that this, unlike traditional combo locks, the solution is the final combination of colors. So even if you mess up, let's say I accidentally click this twice, I can just reverse it, right? Go back to the step, B to red. Now, A to B, and this is one of the first kind of lessons that we kind of get here that helps transfer to programming. Whenever we see an equal sign in programming, it's always taking it from the right and going to the left. The value on the right overwrites the value on the left. So when you see A arrow or B arrow A, it's taking the value of A, which is yellow, and it's going to smash it over, overwriting the value of B to yellow. Now I can open it. Now in programming, so again, since we're in auto, it's going to shift automatically every few, before it introduces new features. So now, B to yellow, C to blue, A to yellow. And again, A equals B. Because we've already seen with the symbols that the arrow feeds left, that we always phrase it as setting this one to that one's color, I would set B to A. Now it already is. So it already is. B to yellow, we click on run. Now let's also say it's a situation where a similar thing here, right? So B to yellow, they're both red, red to red, run. Okay, now here's the case. Let's say I'm a little confused about why that's the case. I've tried it once or twice. I said B to blue, I said A to red, C to yellow. Let's say I misread this and I did it the other way around. So instead of setting blue from B onto C, I do it backwards. I say I'll make those equal by going the other direction. I'll make C was yellow, I'll make B yellow. I try to run it, it says incorrect code, try again. Reset C to the top. I can turn on the practice guide, and this basically builds in there my explanations of how or why to do next. So I can ask for help at any time with this button down here. Change B to blue. Right on. A to red. Now, A already is red. And so a couple different things I can do, right? I can click on next to proceed. I can just wiggle the dial. But I just have to kind of acknowledge, like, yeah, okay, these are the right values I want. C to yellow. And now, okay, here's a step. And again, you'll see this dot showing me each time it goes to my next step. Ask for help. Change C to B. B is blue, so set C to blue. And it breaks down there for you what to do based on the instructions. So set C to blue. I can see here now it's on my closing brace on my program syntax. I click on run. And I didn't get a trophy that time because I used the help feature. Now, speaking of the help feature, so again, every 10 we get another kind of puzzle clue or another element. So we get C to its right color, A to its left color. I'll show an example here at each 10 so we can kind of walk through a bit of what's going on with more advanced features. But the trophy case shows us which levels we've beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many times in each mode. So I've beat this one in word mode. I've beat this one in symbol mode, level 4. I've beat programming mode once for level 8. And for example, level 9, you'll see that they're all still wrapped GIFs because I used the practice mode for that. The other nice thing about auto, in addition to the fact that it'll kind of shuffle between, a 2 or 3 or 4 like this, 3 or 4 like that, is it'll actually detect for a level you've already played if you haven't yet beaten that level of difficulty in symbol mode or in programming mode, it'll give you that instead of the one you've already done it in. So simply by playing auto, when you practice, it's going to fill out this table of doing the ones you haven't done yet to increase your numbers all along. And that can help, if you want to just track your own progress, double check which ones you haven't done yet. Perhaps if you're a parent or a teacher and you want to double check how a younger student has been doing, you can do that. And we can reset the records with this button, which will give us a prompt. Are we sure we want to reset it? I'll say cancel right now. But if we go to OK, it wipes it out. And again, that's not reversible, so heads up. We'll go back to, okay, level 10. Let's just start playing the next few. See these features, right? So A to yellow, C to yellow, B to yellow, B to C already is, A to its left color, B to its right color. And again, the reason why we have these word ones is it helps set us up for what how the pattern is going to follow into the code examples. Okay, B to its left color, A to its right color, C to B. I like to read those right to left. In the same way I read code, right? B to blue, C to yellow, A to yellow, C to B. So yellow over here, C to its right color, B to its left color, open. Okay, power through. And you'll notice too, when I click on the scene, it goes a little faster, but A to blue, C to red, B to yellow, A to left color, C to left color. And right around the time it starts to feel like, okay, well, I've clearly got that pattern under control. Then it shifts our mode. So now we get to practice that same application here. C to red, B to red, A to red, all red. And again, here's where these buttons can be particularly helpful. For these arrows showing a swoop, well, I could infer from that visually that it's showing to turn it, in this case, clockwise, right? Or I can also use that as my clue. So A, that hook. I can match the hook on the button down below the dial. Tapping that will achieve the same effect and make sure there's no confusion about which way to rotate a dial. Again, without any confusion about which way it refers to. And then, okay, again, A to B, which symbols give us the arrow clue. So from A onto B, yellow to yellow, check mark to open. And we'll just kind of proceed through these. Red, red, red. A swoop in that way. A onto B, it already is. C that direction. Boop. And again, you can also look at, the reason why those turns are the way they are is because it's next to the color it's going to become. Right, so by turning A that direction, it becomes red, the one next to the button. By turning B that direction, it becomes yellow, the one next to the button. And then A onto C already is, checkbox to open. And now we get to the programming ones. A to red, B to blue, C to yellow. And this is where, once again, we've kind of been able to follow that pattern. So at first, it just said turn left side, turn right side. Now instead we get A++ or A-, programming syntax for increase or decrease by 1. And in case we have any confusion about what that refers to, just like we did for the arrows, we can look down here. Okay, the plus button is going to increase it, right? If we turned a combo lock, this would increase the number on it. C++, we're going to increase it. C to A. And because just from the symbols and the arrows, we already know it always comes from the right onto the left for that equal sign. Click on run. C to red, B to blue, A to blue. They almost threw me off. C++, and again here we see our first B minus minus, turns the other direction, and then B on to C for all blue. Of course, these puzzles are randomly generated, so every time you play level 15, it's going to be different, but depending on which block of 10, you get a different set of features in there, and we'll skip ahead in a second here just to show you some of the higher level things that it shows as it gets up into the higher levels. A on to C, A++, B minus minus, run. Just cruising along. Okay, so now we get to more advanced features with, like, say, an if statement, where it's going to skip indented steps. And it starts to do an explanation here with a little animation for if B is matching A's color, then we do the indented part, and if it doesn't, then we skip it. And so we'll start from the top. C to red, B to blue. It's going to build on what we've already done before, A to blue. Set B to its right color, which again, if I feel at all confused, I can just use the button that matches the exact verbiage, right color. Is B matching C, right? Is B matching C? Well, and it is. So then we're going to do these two steps. Now, part of the update in this version that's newly public, so plus turn on the practice guides, can take us back to the top. Which, by the way, if we try to do things out of order and not the step it says next, it will push us back when we're in practice mode and say, no, try again. So, okay, C to red, which it already is, so we can actually just click the already is button. B to blue, A to blue. Set B to its right color. New in this update is an explanation for when it goes into an if statement, it shows you the reasoning. Is B matching C? Okay, well, it tells us red versus red, right? That's the value of B, that's the value of C, red versus red. It is going in, so then we see that's why our next step goes into the if statement. C to its right color, and then B to C, which again, if I'm feeling tripped up about what way that says, I can explain for the steps since I'm in practice mode on. Change B to C. C is yellow, so set B to yellow. Exactly the same thing happening when we're manipulating values in code. Set C to its left color, A to C, or actually C to A. Helps to read those right to left. Open the safe. No trophy since we use practice mode, but you get the gist there of how that looks. And so as we proceed up in difficulty, we start to see an if then else. And actually, let me show this one here with let's do some programming syntax for the if then else. And again, we get kind of a new clue for each 10 of, okay, if red matches red, if A matches red, we're going to do these steps. Otherwise, we're going to do those steps. We're going to skip the other one. So C to yellow. Let me actually turn on the practice guide so we see it help. C to yellow, B to yellow, A to red, A++. B equals C. B equals C. Yellow versus yellow it is. So we're going in. So we're going to do these two, and it's going to skip the else. B++, A minus minus, C++, C to B. Reminder that this help button only shows up in practice mode, including the if explanations. Otherwise, we don't see those. So let's do it without it. B to red, A to yellow, C to yellow, B++, A on to B, it already matches. Speaking of B equals A, it does. So we're going to do those A to blue, C minus minus. Skip the else, since the if was true. C minus minus, run. Oh no, I must have mixed something up. Let's try it again. B to red, A to yellow. Hopefully you even saw there what I did. Getting sloppy. B++, A to B, already is. So now A to blue, C minus minus. Skip the else, C minus minus again. There we go. Got my prize. Little ice cream there. It looks like maybe rice. Can't tell with some emojis. All right, so you got the idea there of B and C are going to match there. That's our if-else's. And of course, so even though auto is pretty handy because it automatically is going to shift every 3 to 4, you can choose if you want to always be in word mode, you find that more comfortable. You want to be in symbol mode. Again, maybe a player is either working on that symbolic bridge, or if they're just not as comfortable with English and reading yet, symbol mode might be the way to stick it. Or programming, if you kind of want a little more of a challenge, you're already maybe even familiar with some basic programming stuff, you just want to jump right into the hard mode, you can leave it on that, and it's going to default that to all of them. Otherwise, auto is going to rotate to the one you haven't done yet for a certain block. So logical and, get a case here, it shows us, okay, well, both these have to be true, right? It has to match blue and A has to match C. If both are true, then it does the thing. So, okay, let's turn on the practice guide. B to red already is. C to red, A to red already is. Aha! It skipped it, and it shows us down here the explanation for why next jumped all the way down here. Is red matching red, right? Is A matching B? It is, yes. And is red matching yellow? Is B matching yellow? B is red. No. Both had to work since we have and also in this phrase. So we're switching path. So we go down here to the if that wasn't true, then instead set A to blue, B onto C, which it already is, A to B, or so B onto A, always feeding to the right. A onto C, which it already is. Set C to its right color, B to its left color. Open the safe, which again, practice mode, so no trophy. And we can go back and we check our trophy case. By the way, this saves this progress, right? So if I refresh this page and come back to learntoreadcode.com, this time let's do the secret mansion. Kind of pleased with this intro sequence as well. Just find it helps to give some context for what's happening off screen. So if I go to check out the trophy case, again, it remembered that I beat level 10 in word mode, which levels I've beaten. And that 1 again refers to how many times I've done it. So if I play programming mode on level 18 again, even though we'll get a new random puzzle with the same difficulty features, it's going to increase this curling puck thing to 2 instead of 1. You can see which levels I haven't played yet. So let's, speaking of which, let's hop up to logical and function calls. For this one, I'm going to use symbols for the function calls. This shows us that, again, a little animated illustration here. When we have a function call, it jumps over, does those steps, then returns to where it came from. So, okay, C to yellow, B to blue, A to blue. A is going to hook that direction, B is going to hook that direction. Do the bread steps. And here's where emojis get randomly assigned for functions. So we go to the bread steps, C to the left, B to the right, and then we're back to the check mark. So we opened up our safe in the hidden mansion, got a kiwi. It's the same fruits and vegetables and emojis, depending on, regardless of which art set you go with. So this one we also actually have the steps again here for in the very end. Let me see if we can randomize it a couple times. There we go. So now we get the hat steps in the middle. So B to red. Let me actually show it with practice mode. So we have a light bulb now for emoji mode. B to red, A to red, which we can also just tap on the color, which I find handy. So now C to A, let's say I'm not sure what to do, so our hint button in emoji mode gives us emojis. Change A to C. C is yellow, so set A to yellow. Boop. Arrow hook that way for the B. And now it says to do the hat steps. Tells us we go over here to the hat steps. B, hook to the right. A, hook to the right. We return from the hat steps to C going that way. We're on the check mark. Click the check mark. No trophy since we used the helper stuff. Let's go into programming mode for our next section, which has multiple functions. So that shows us how we can have code where other steps will jump to one block, side path will jump to another, but again, it's going to randomize here, do stuff in some steps. When I get to do stuff, let's just follow the flow here. C to red, B to yellow, A to yellow, C++, which of course, even though it says C++, I could just click on the same color. Do stuff, you'll see they have a dark marker here to show we jumped. Over in do stuff, C++, B++. And now we're in the sum steps function, B to A, C minus minus. And then we're in sum steps function again. It called this group of code again. B to A already is. C minus minus. Now we're back to where it came from. B to blue already is. Open. No trophy since we're in practice mode. As we go up a little higher in difficulty, we start seeing parameters. Let me put this one back into auto. And this shows us how when we get to a step and it says not just to use a side plan, but use it for a certain color, then we treat that color as, say, the variable x inside of the function. So C to blue. Let's turn on the help mode for this, so things don't get messy. C to blue, A to red, B to yellow, A to blue. Do the other steps, C to yellow, A to its left color. And now we went back to where we came from, go to side plan for blue. Notice here it says side plan for color X. So set B to X. And just like you saw in the animation, blue becomes X, goes to B to X. So if I'm not sure, since I'm in the practice guide mode, explain what to do. Change B to X. X is blue, so set B to blue. Set C to its left color. B to A. Oops, I went backwards. Again, A onto B, which I can double check. Change B to A. A is yellow, set B to yellow. Open the safe. And practice mode, so no trophy. Continues to increase in sophistication and complexity a little bit as we go up here to some unequal values. Now it might ask, is C not matching red, right? Is C yellow or blue on those steps? If so, do side plan for C. So there we pass in the value C had. Let's do that one together. Setting with a help mode on so we can follow the marker. A to yellow, C to blue, side plan for blue. So side plan for color X. Set B to its left color, A to X, where X was the value of blue. So A to blue, A to red. Now we go back to where it came from, set C to red. Aha! Is C not matching red? C is matching red, so we skipped the optional steps. Now we're down here to this function called other steps. You can see we still have our caret, and it explains down here C didn't match red. Red versus red, so we're skipping ahead. C to its left color, A to blue, B to C, already is, B to blue, open the safe. No trophy, but we made it to the end of that puzzle. And let's see how those look. Of course, that same one, same difficulty can work also in symbols mode or in programming syntax. So there's our not equals, where once again, if we're in auto, after 3 to 4 puzzles, it's going to start shifting into symbols, and then 3 to 4 puzzles is going to shift into programming. And so we can get used to the syntax of how this maps onto what we've already seen, where more code red, more code X. We get this direct mapping of what we've already seen explained earlier in the words, maybe when we use the help mode. Hop up a little higher, we get some relative variables. And so this one can be a little bit confusing, even if you have a background in coding or math or something else you're used to it. Because these dials don't have numbers on them, right? They're not 1, 2, and 3. We can't really say is 1 less than 3. Instead, we get these colors, red, blue, and yellow. So C to yellow, B to yellow, A to red. B left of C is the way to read this in these colored dials. So, okay, B is yellow, C is yellow. Is yellow left of yellow? No, red is left of yellow. So it's not, so we're going to do the else. We're going to go to do stuff. A minus minus. Click on the button in case I forget. C to red. B plus plus. Coming back down to extra steps for red. B plus plus. A equals something. You'll see here the argument here got randomly replaced. So instead of being X, now we have a variable name here for something, for a local value, which is red, got passed in. A to red. B minus minus. We come back to our do stuff call. A minus minus. C to red. B plus plus. Go back to C++ and run it. We got our vase here at level 90 difficulty. But again, these are always randomly generated puzzles. So there's a feature in there for offering feedback, right? If you run into a problem, hit an issue, try to use the practice guide, and you're pretty sure it's not working. If you reference like, oh, I did puzzle 65 in your feedback form, I can't look at exactly the puzzle you did, unfortunately. I'll get a different one if I go to 65. I can tell what features were in there. I won't see the exact same one. And then as we get to the highest levels, we get OR bars, we get comparisons greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, is it the same or left of? And again, we can kind of go here into word mode, but it tries to explain, and things get a little messy and complicated here. It really does build up to some pretty code-looking stuff at this highest tier. If C is to the right of or the same as yellow. Let's do this with a practice guide for just one example of a high-level one. C to blue, A to red, B to blue. Oh, I have to first tell it, right? Yes, I acknowledge. A should be red. B to blue. Handle this. Go to this function. C minus minus. C onto A, yellow. Backwards, already is, so I can tap either yellow. A to blue. Aha. And here it again explains our reasoning. Is C, which is yellow, to the right of or the same as yellow? It is. Or, these are OR bars, as we see from the different modes we can go through. Is blue left of or equal to yellow? B, which is blue, C is yellow, and what's left of yellow? Red. What's the same as yellow? Yellow. So blue is not left of or equal to yellow, but at least one works, and it's an OR case. So if either or both are true, we do the inside of here. We move in. Handle this. So C minus minus, C onto A, and then we have a redundant step here of A onto B. Next, other things for blue. A goes to call, which we can ask for help. Change A to call. Call is blue, so change A to blue. B++. C onto A. Oops. Mistake. This helps catch us if we're in practice mode. C onto B, which it already is, so I can click on next or just tap one of those colors. A minus minus. And we've completed that puzzle, but once again, practice mode, so no trophy for us at that one. And so even though the puzzles stop getting harder at 100, it does track, just if a player is curious to see their own progress, up to 130 for which ones they've completed different in word, symbol, and programming mode. And again, as a reminder, in auto mode, let's show this just one last quarter distinction about the auto mode, and part of why it's so handy again. Go back to level 1, I play level 1, right? A to blue, B to blue, C to yellow. I solved it, I got my socks. Classic Christmas gift. I didn't use practice mode, so I can go back and check my trophy case. It knows I did socks. In fact, again, I can refresh the site. I can come back later. I can change modes to jewelry mode. Now I'm going to go to play level 1, because it knows I already beat this in word mode on level 1 at least once, now I see it in symbol mode. A to yellow, BC to red, got some leaves. Next one goes back to words because I haven't beat level 2 yet in words. You'll see here it filled in the leaves. And if I go back to level 1, now you got a sense for how auto mode works. It's actually going to show it to me in programming because that's one I haven't yet beaten level 1 in. A to blue, B to blue, C to yellow. And so in that way, auto is going to help make sure you get a lot of variety in your practice. In addition to switching it up as you go, even when you return, it's going to help spread out your experience over the table for which modes you beat at different difficulty levels. But that's kind of the gist, right? It's something where it shouldn't actually be. It's not like something you get addicted to playing this puzzle game and can't put it down. It's something where hopefully you conquer it, you overcome it, and whether it takes you a few sessions, a few weeks, one day, whatever it takes to overcome it, really by the time you're done with it, you have the fluency to navigate a wide variety of tutorials that are out there on the web about basics of programming, about tutorials to follow. Of course, I would point to my free course on Udemy, Code Your First Game, as an example where once you have this level of fluency of how code skips, jumps, variables get reassigned and mapped to each other, it's really a pretty good foundation to carry that into some pretty foundational programming of JavaScript, or for that matter, similar patterns with different syntax and Python tutorials and other examples you'll find out there. That's it though. I just want to share that. LearnToReadCode.com. See it right there. It's actually called Safe Code Trainer, is sort of a more descriptive title. But LearnToReadCode.com will get you there. There may be changes and updates, so if the wording in this video is not quite what you see in the demo, when you get there, hopefully it's even better. But I just want to share that, make you aware of it. Hopefully, if there's someone in your life who this would be useful to, pass it their way. Let them know at LearnToReadCode.com. Again, it's playable on tablets. Should be cross-platform across Windows, Linux, Chromebooks, Macs, and so on. Or if you encounter issues of, hey, it didn't work in my device, I ran into this problem. Remember, you can go to Help and Feedback, provide feedback. They'll take you a little Google form you can fill out to let me know what happened. And that's very, very helpful to me. Or if you just have an experience where you want to share it was helpful to someone or it wasn't helpful for someone based on their background, there's information for all that and providing feedback. If you'd like, I'd include in the credits there people who've helped out and tested and been willing to be included in our credits. Through that can kind of help me out there too. But that's for the day. Thanks for hearing me out about LearnToReadCode.com. I hope it's helpful to you or someone in your life. Feel free to pass it around. It's completely free, cross-platform, in-browser, very simple to use. Hopefully becomes a useful tool for people to help bridge those gaps. And like I say, it might be for a younger player. It might be something a little more like usage of a textbook or something else for you as a parent facilitator, teacher facilitator, older sibling, something like that might be useful. But also should work just fine too if you're not if you're not a kid, right? It's something where the same puzzles are still engaging to us in the same kind of way of solving. I think missed puzzles was a comparison in some of our user feedback so far. But I look forward to playing the games of the future that you're going to make, or perhaps using the applications that you develop.